Good day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jeff again, and I'm back with a review. I am going to continue on with this Green Lantern saga, and today I'm going to be reviewing a trade, Green Lantern No Fear. Again, I'm going to have to say thank you to the very gracious and humble Green Lantern 223, Corey. I guess I'm very gracious that you sent this to me. Again, he sent me 3 trades, and this is one of them. I realized after doing my last video and review that this book actually picks up right kind of where Rebirth leaves off, and Recharge actually seems to fall in kind of in the middle of this. But that's a Green Lantern Corps title, so that makes sense. But anyway, Corey sent this to me because I've covered it before. We talked about Green Lantern. This is one of his favorite runs, so he had some trades. He really thought I'd like it, and I can see why. After reading this, I can really see why maybe he thought I would like it, and I'll get into that. But I loved it. I might love this more than on Rebirth. There were some things that kind of slowed me down in this, but it was one of those things where I picked it up one night and I couldn't put it down. I intended to read a little bit, like an issue or two. I really just kind of wanted to read the Darwin Cook story that kicked it off. There's an origin story, Secret Origins, and Darwin Cook did the artwork. And first of all, I love Darwin Cook. I don't love him like, I want to be his boyfriend. I love his artwork. Just incredible. Everything Darwin Cook does, whether he writes things or does the art, but I certainly love his art. He did, if anyone read New Frontier by Darwin Cook, you'll know what I mean. But he did this great story. He did the art in this great story that Geoff Johns wrote. It basically shows Hal Jordan during 3 stages of his life. And I won't get too much into this, but him as a young boy, his dad takes him to the airfield because his mom has basically forbidden him to watch his dad fly. She hates the fact that his dad flies. She thinks it's dangerous. She doesn't want Hal following in the footsteps. She's very guarded, very safe, and his brothers kind of become that too. But Hal is like his dad. He wants to fly. He thinks it's the greatest thing ever. So Hal's dad sneaks him into the airfield one night, and the guy working the gate named Johnny takes the money and to look the other way. And then later in Hal's life, Johnny's working the gate and he has Carol pay, but that's okay because Hal wants to get her up in the plane, get her adrenaline pumping, and you know what he wants to do. And then later, after Hal has come back, the redeemed hero, he thinks that Kyle Rayner needs a little thrill. They need to put the rings down. They understand that they can fly and do all these great things, but no one has flown the way Hal flies, and he gets Kyle up in the jet with him, and he shows up and pays Johnny at the gate, and now Johnny's a man who has children, and Hal gives him money this time, but it's not for him to look the other way because that's implied. It's for his kids, and there's this sense of respect, and you get a lot of you get this feeling of the kind of person Hal Jordan is, and that he's got respect from Johnny, and he's earned that respect from Johnny, and he has respect for Johnny as a man. And you also get this admiration that Hal has for his father, and the admiration he has for flying these jets. It's an incredible story. That kicks it all off. So just for that alone, I love this trade. Then it starts Green Lanterns issue 1 through 6, and this is the 4th volume of Green Lantern. Okay, this went 60-some issues before everything rebooted and the New 52 started. And now in Green Lantern, there's 2 kind of arcs. You deal with the return of the Manhunters and a guy called the Grand Master, and then it shifts. It kind of gets dropped. It kind of just gets left open with this Grand Master and these Manhunters who have come back. And you kind of start to find out why the Manhunters come back. And then the last arc is these gremlin aliens from Sector 2812 who speak German, or they laugh at that because it's not really German. That's their language, and then the silly humans of Earth adapted it somehow, some way, in some cosmic event. But these aliens are working, I think, for the Thangarian people, and they're doing experience of accelerated evolution. Okay, and I'll get to that too. So anyway, those are like the two arcs we deal with. Basically, what I want to cover in this is that this book further redeems Hal Jordan. And we get to see an exploration of certain themes, mainly with second chances, and then mainly with the dynamic of his family, with the fear versus no fear attitude that Hal Jordan has. The dynamic with the second chances is very interesting to me. Coast City and Hal Jordan are one and the same. Coast City was destroyed, and then with that, Hal Jordan's life was destroyed. Hal Jordan's been redeemed. He's been given a second chance, and he wants to make the most of that second chance. And you see in this book that Coast City is trying to be rebuilt. Not a lot of people are giving Coast City that chance. They're scared of it. They're scared. The fear keeps them away. Hal Jordan doesn't have that fear. He wants redemption. He wants the city to be redeemed. Not a lot of people are giving Hal a second chance this time around, but he's been given that regardless of whether they want to give it to him or not. He's been given it. He's been trying to make the most of it. Who's not giving him a second chance is the Air Force. And we've already got the sense that Hal Jordan cares about nothing but flying. He doesn't care that he's this powerful space cop in this universe and this superhero. He wants to fly planes. And he can't fly planes because something happened and he was kicked out. His instructor, he punched him in the face. I'll get to that. He was kicked out. And now this instructor is this big-time general, and he doesn't think there's a chance. Although he does have friends in high places, and things eventually do work out. I don't want to spoil a whole lot, but there is a lot of action in this. Green Lantern springs into the fight at the drop of a hat, and Ethan Van Sciver does a nice job with the art and depicting that action. There's also moments of just suspense. I mean, I don't know what it was, but I mean, when Hal Jordan was up in the plane and his power ring was dying, there's some Van Sciver art where the new Manhunter has come to Earth and is trying to take out Hal Jordan and also to destruct the old Manhunter, which would create like an atom bomb-like explosion that would blow everything in 25-mile radius to hell. His power ring's dying, his plane's dying. And there's a line, he says, my arm nearly pops out of the socket, the plane engine goes dead, and then the battery says, warning, power levels 0. He goes back to his back into his regular civilian clothes. Then he says the ring follows. So the plane's dead, ring's dead. He says, believe it or not, I still got a plan. And this crazy bastard just jumps from the plane trying to get a hold of the face mask of this new Manhunter because he realizes that he can charge his battery on this faceplate. Crazy as hell. Very cool. I really enjoyed some of that and some of the suspenseful moments. The other thing about this book, and I think, what I really kind of was shocked to see is the horror elements of it. Like there when the new Manhunter shows up and he incinerates this man, and you can see from that picture he is blown inside out. Space is creepy, I mean, I'm more of a horror guy than I am a sci-fi guy. But when you combine the two elements, I mean, there's something really creepy, cold, dark, gritty, and dirty about space. And gremlin aliens who mess around with accelerated evolution, that's creepy. And if it doesn't sound creepy, read this. It will be very creepy. Hector Hammond is creepy as anything in this book. He's done very well by Geoff Johns. And, the fact that he wants to get inside Hal's mind and live these memories, and he wants to get really deep into his dates, like all the way deep, like nightcap deep. And he's just, obviously, if you've never seen a picture of Hector Hammond, let's see if I can pull it up. Well, there's a picture of the Black Hand, and I'll get to him too. All Ethan Van Sciver artwork, and it was pretty good. Not like Rebirth good. There's Hector Hammond and his big bloated head. He was creepy. There was some deep horror, like elements of horror in this book. And And now the gremlin aliens, and these aren't it. This is them actually accelerating somebody, a regular human, to they evolved in like 50,000 years. These little gremlin creatures, they seem kind of worthless. I guess just kind of something to add, I guess, a little intrigue to the story. But they're not. They serve a purpose. Because, I mean, I understand what happens with Black Hand down the line. I know Blackest Night. And I don't really know what happens with Hector Hammond in the story. But these gremlins evolve, because they're experimenting. They wanted to use Hector Hammond as a weapon. They evolved him a little further. I guess that's going to serve a purpose. He can talk now instead of just being telepathic. They also evolved the Black Hand, because Black Hand was kind of a lame, crazy supervillain, and Geoff Johns is good for taking lame, crazy or villains and making them more powerful. So those gremlin guys, not just creepy, but they actually serve a purpose for the story going forward. So yeah, we see all that. We see some seeds get planted. Like I said, with the artwork, Darwin Cooks was beautiful. Ethan Van Sciver, not quite as good as what I saw. I guess he inked his own stuff in this, and maybe at times got a little heavy on the inks. It was still good. I mean, the action still flowed. It was good. There's a host of artists. Ethan Van Sciver, Darwin Cook, Simon Bianchi, and Carlos Paccio. Sorry. Anyway, the last issue of this was my only real problem. The artwork was fine, but it was a different style, and it was kind of jarring. The lines weren't as heavy as we saw with Van Sciver and Carlos before. Excuse me. The artwork was great, and I wouldn't have minded actually seeing the entire book like this, but it was just this last issue. Beg your pardon. But I mean, it was a whirlwind of an issue anyway, so I guess it kind of fit in a way. But not to get too long in this review of No Fear, it's really good. Green Lantern, from what I've read with Geoff John's run so far, is turning out. I mean, like, Hal Jordan's becoming one of my favorite characters, and that I'm not just saying that. He really has. The way Geoff Johns is writing him, the character moments in here. He punches out his drill instructor because he made a promise to his mother when he was young that he wouldn't follow in the footsteps of his father. But he can't quit the Air Force. His mom's on his deathbed, and she won't even talk to Hal. So he actually has to drill his instructor in the face in a legit fight. It wasn't like he just walked up and punched him. He acted up. His instructor called him out, and he drilled the guy. There's so many different other elements that happen in this book, like his brother, who's very guarded and fearful, won't go back to Coast City. And there's this family dynamic currently happening, and the dynamic which happened. The general who he punched out accepts him back in the Air Force, but knows his secret. I don't want to spoil a whole lot to it. You need to read it. You need to get on this Geoff Johns run of Green Lantern. That everything that happened before the New 52. I'm heading towards Sinestro Corps War, and I'm very excited about that. I believe there's like 3 trades before Sinestro Corps War. One's called Hal Jordan Wanted. I know there's 2 other ones. I'm not sure what they're called, but they're mainly following the line of this. But yeah, this is great. I'm liking Geoff Johns more and more. I think I've established that I do like his writing, and he's really selling me on Hal Jordan, a character I didn't really care for before, but I didn't know much about, so I guess that wasn't very fair. And so the more I read about him and what's happened to him in the past is important, and you know that and you understand that from this book. But he's reinventing him, I guess, as this redeemed hero, and there's a lot of layers to him as a character. So, like I said, I couldn't put it down. I started reading it one night. I wanted to read just a little bit of it, and I just could not put it down. So, I think I respect his fearless attitude. I don't relate to the character because I'm not a lot like him. I'm more like his brother, but not as extreme. I'm more guarded and safe. So I guess I really appreciate and respect this character, Hal Jordan. So thanks again to Green Lantern 223. I really appreciate you getting me started on this, and I look forward to getting into more of it. And if you guys haven't picked this up, go back, get Rebirth and No Fear for sure. You won't be disappointed in those books. Take care.